Hey folks, it's Tom Frugal Prepper. I want to show you a little knot that I use in my garden. It's called a mooring hitch knot. I was watching a video today by the urban farmer guy. I put a link to his channel down below. But he grows a lot of tomatoes in a greenhouse, and I've seen other greenhouses that are using the, hard pruning, grow up a string, prune to the bottom fruit set method of growing indeterminate tomatoes, which works really well to get nice, big, healthy fruits, and a lot of them. So a lot of times people tie like a slip knot up at the top, and like I was watching, I think it was Roger who was working in his greenhouse, climbing up a step stool, tying it off, climbing back down. And this is, I think, a far better way to do it. So I'll show you what I do here. So here are my tomato plants growing down here, and I prune off the suckers. I got to get here and do a little more pruning. We had a big rain, and we'll see this big explosion of growth now. So I use this is actually wire pulling string, but I just had it. But a lot of people use the poly baler twine, which I think works great. And so this is a mooring hitch knot. And so I take my string all the way up over the wire up here and back down. And then I tie this mooring hitch knot. And that way I don't have to reach clear up here. Or if these were taller, I might have to get a step stool out, Or if you're a shorter person. You only have to do that once. And so even as the fruit grows up the string and you're harvesting way up high late in the season, you can take your string loose and then lower it down, harvest, raise it back up. Or as the plant gets taller, you can start to wrap the vine around a little at the bottom and train it so that you can keep lowering your plants down. And it just costs you a little bit of extra string, which is fine because this is my 4th season using these strings. I've had to throw a few out that have gotten messed up, but for the most part, I'm using them 4 years now. So, and poly baler twine will last a while too. So let me show you how this works here. Okay, so this is a mooring hitch knot. It gives you nice strong support if you pull down on the string right here, right? It also is adjustable, so if I need to adjust it up or take some slack out, and then it's still strong after you adjust it. And then you can also just pull this here and the whole thing comes loose, so you can wrap your plant or whatever, and then you can just put it back together. To tie this, you make a loop, you put your loop up here to this back string, you pull it, make a loop like this with this part on this side. You reach through, you go ahead and then pull this middle string through, and then you reach through and you grab this end right here and pull it down, and then you have a mooring hitch knot. So this is real handy if I'm coming out here working with plants. I'll make this a little lower so you can see it. Okay, so now if I just need a little slack to wrap this plant, I can put a little slack, wrap it, then come back, tighten her up. If I got to do a lot of wrapping, I can take the string completely loose. But while it's loose, I have enough string that it'll stay up on that wire. So I can wrap, do all my work, come back, pull it tight, and tie it off. And so when you get good with these and you practice, you can tie a mooring hitch knot pretty quick. And there's nothing like growing vertical peas where you have to put up like 100 of these strings to really get you good at this. I'll put a link below to a diagram online that shows a little closer detail how to tie this. But you essentially make a loop, you take your inside string, you grab that, and then just pull. So it's a nice, easy way to to do this without having to work way up with your hands over your head or on a step stool all the time. And it's a huge time saver when you have a lot of plants to prune. I only got 7 tomato plants this year. Last year I had 24 planted down through here, and so I grow at 9 inches apart. So, and then I, spread them front to back so that I'm just spreading out my light and air exposure. I'm getting good airflow, good light, and I can plant them closer together. I've just tied off the galvanized fencing wire up here at the top of my T-frames. And then at the bottom, I'll show you. Okay, so I have some wire, and I just have some stakes in, and I just tack them with some little wire staples to these stakes every 5 feet. And then this is just 14 gauge electrical wire that's insulated, and then I can reuse that year after year. And then I just tie off my strings to that. That way, if you do pull too hard on the string, that wire is what you're pulling on, not the plant itself, where you're going to uproot the plant. So maybe that will help save some time for the urban farmer or other people that are doing a lot of tomatoes. I mean, I grow a lot of things vertically, so I grow my cantaloupe vertically and then put them in slings as they grow. And so I just train them up the strings. Sometimes cantaloupe will grab on and go up themselves. It's been my experience. I have to kind of keep on top of them and wrap them. I mean, they have these little feelers that come out, but they don't seem to grab the strings. These are Haley's Best Jumbos. They're not as good at climbers as the little tiny ones, Honey Rocks, that I did last year. But cucumbers, on the other hand, they'll reach out and just grab the string all on their own and keep growing straight up there. So there's not a lot of work to do with those once you get them trained. See, I got my cucumbers are setting and growing. I don't have any lemon cucumbers yet. I'm waiting for some. They're healthy looking plants. As you can see, I've got lots of yellow squash down in here, and look at a big zucchini there. I need to get that guy picked. Like I said, my potatoes have laid over now. That's fine. That's what potatoes do. And then I got this other bed finished up and planted yesterday. So come down to the end and show you here. What I've got is right here is turnips about the last 2 feet, and then 2 different kinds of carrots right here, some orange carrots and some purple carrots. And then I switch over here at the 10-foot mark halfway down, and this is some beans here. I'll have to look up what kind they are. It's a small bush bean, 48 days to maturity. And then I've got let's see, this is radishes. I got some white icicle radishes and some cherry radishes. So those will be 28 days to maturity. So this area right here is open right now, and I have pak choi, bok choy, and cabbage started inside. So this will probably become pak choi and bok choy. And then the radishes will be coming out about the time the cabbage is ready to transplant in. So what I'm really trying to work on now in my gardening skills is the time frames I have to get things replanted, and what's going in next. Because what I'm finding is a lot of people, especially around here, oh, look at that huge cucumber. Sorry, I get distracted. I didn't even see that one. Awesome. So what I'm working on is how to rotate things out. So like, I know the potatoes will be done in about another month, and then I'm figuring out what I'm going to plant there that I can get out before first frost. And then Even when I get into like September, beginning of September, I'll be pulling stuff out, and then I'll be putting in some garlic. And then garlic will overwinter and grow the next year. So to really maximize the time I have to grow, around here it seems like you have to buy seeds and stuff and plant ahead, because everybody, closes down into June. All the gardening stores are closed up. Nobody seems to get that. There are crops that you can regrow and keep growing. So, and then some things are really long-term crop. Cantaloupe. I love cantaloupe. But I'll probably get about 1 cantaloupe per vine, and these will grow well into September before they're ripe and ready to pick. But other things like cucumbers, it's been my experience, once they take off, you'll get to a point where you have all the pickles and cucumbers you can stand, and it will be time to just pull those out, even though they're still productive, and plant something else in their spot. And you can get into doing some lettuces and stuff like that are easy and fast to grow, and they're better in the cooler weather of the fall. So I'm learning to get my plants started early indoors and transplant healthy seedlings to get a head start. And I'm trying to work on how to rotate the crops out in my small garden area to get a maximum production out of it. So anyway, I hope that you enjoyed that. I'm going to be working today on getting more of this grass out of here and extending the electric fence out beyond that other garden bed. I find electric fence is a cheap, easy, and effective way to keep competition out of your garden. I'll show you the pumpkins here real quick before I go. So here are the pumpkin plants. They're growing way out here. They're nice and big and huge. I don't know if I have any pumpkins in here yet or not. There might be some starting. This right here is not a deficiency. That I had some Japanese beetles attack, and I had to spray some neem oil. And I went a little heavy on some of the leaves. It was really hot and sunny that day, and it just kind of burnt some of the leaves. You see all of the new growth. Just looks fantastic. Hey, look, there's a pumpkin. How about that? But yeah, it's growing all the way over here to the hedges. It's heading towards the house in that direction. Oh, there's another pumpkin. Or at least it's a female flower. I don't know if it's that. There's another little female flower right there. Now we'll see if this one pollinated or not. It's getting a little bigger. So it looks like I might have some pumpkins. They'll typically set a little more fruit than they can handle, and then they'll slough off the ones that they can't handle. But yeah, not bad for just throwing some pumpkin plants in the middle of the lawn. So, but anyway, so hopefully, knowing how to tie that knot might help some people. Might help urban gardener. Try it out, see if it works for you. It definitely will eliminate some of the step stool time, which is, I think in that situation, the less energy you can expend, the better, the more you can get done, because you only have a certain amount of energy to use throughout the day before you got to rest, right? And also, just the time savings in general. Especially if you're, I don't sell for money. I'm just canning, preserving, and eating my stuff for my own use. But in his business, time is money. You only have so much time. It takes time to grow plants, and time's really your resource that you're selling. So I'll talk to y'all later. This is Tom, your frugal prepper.